In 1998, the little blue pill changed the way older people saw sex, reminded people that, yes, there can be good sex when you're over the age of 50. The book is called The Sex Bible for People Over 50, the complete guide to sexual love for mature couples. It is written by Laurie Betito. She is a psychologist who specializes in sexuality. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me.
You know, I was thinking about that little blue pill, and it stands to reason, right? The baby boomers changed sex in the 60s with the birth control pill.
Right.
And it stands to reason that as they got older, 30 years later, came up with Viagra.
They needed something else.
This is not a generation that is going to let things go, I guess.
No, and why should we, when sexuality is such an integral part of life, and there really is no expiration date for sexual feelings and sexual pleasure.
There's a lot of myths, though, isn't there, about people over 50 and
yes,
sex?
Unfortunately, that's part of the problem, and part of it is our ageist society. So we tend to look at older people having sex as, you know, dirty, or you know, we have like the dirty old man or things like that, which is unfair because that's really not what it's about. And so yes, there are myths that youthful sexuality is better, when in fact studies show that the opposite is true, that as we age, we get better, just like wine.
But also, a lot of it is healthy, too. You know, I talk to a lot of my girlfriends, and they'll say, you know, these days I just rather get like a good night's sleep. You know,
that's true.
But it's healthy to have good sex, too, right?
Yes.
Think of it as exercise.
Well, that's exercise is one. It keeps the heart pumping. It affects your immune system. In other words, it boosts immunity. Like, studies have shown that people who have and continue to have sex have gained many health benefits from it, from their genital health to every other aspects of their life. Stress reducer, pain reliever. So it has many things that affect our health and, of course, the health of our relationship.
I still find it interesting, though, that, you know, the generation that created that sexual revolution back in the 60s is still kind of awkward about talking about sexuality themselves 30 years later, don't you find?
Yeah, I do find that interesting, and I think we're getting better. I find that I'm being asked to give talks, speak to many groups, and people are open to hearing it. Even people in their 80s are open to hearing it and want information. So what I'm seeing, and with the years on the radio and people calling in, and I'm seeing that people want that information. They may not be willing to ask their doctors or talk to their friends, but I know, and I really know, they really want that information.
And radio shows are easy too because it's anonymous.
It's anonymous, exactly. So 15 years of doing that and hearing thousands of people and their questions tells me that there's a thirst for this knowledge for this crowd, which is what led me to write the book.
But also, you know, sex, I think, regardless of the age, is still more of a head thing than a body thing at times.
For women.
For women, okay. But because a lot of it has to do, and you've got a section there talking about seduction and romance, and we can't get away from that, can we?
No, and I think it's part of the reason I wrote the book is so we can understand each other. This is for heterosexuals, but it's to understand how do women function, how do men function, because we do function differently, and women do have different needs, and as we get older, we do lose the spontaneous desire for sexual activity, but we don't lose our interest. We just need to know what is it that motivates us, that can motivate us to want more and to engage in sexuality more.
Well, unfortunately, we're out of time, but Laurie Betito has been very kind enough we have a book, and she will sign it, and we will give it away. You can email us at montrealcontest@ctv.ca, and there's a whole section here on toys, and I was kind of looking at it, and thinking I'm really out of the loop. But anyway, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
We'll be right back.